Everybody, today we have a vlog post. A vlog. Okay, a vlog. Today's topic is the fatherless epidemic that is in society. All the statistics and everything show that the lack of fathers is why we have a rampant increase in pretty much a whole lot of bad stuff. Now, the problem is we don't factor in some other factors, and you could use that fatherless epidemic and all those statistics. You could use that. You could to blame men, and that is usually what it's used for. It's used to blame men. They're like, why aren't men stepping up? Blah 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 blah. Problem with that idea is that it's not men who don't want to be part of the majority of men, I'm going to say, would love to be part of their child's lives, their kids' lives. The problem is that a lot of women don't allow them to be in their child's lives. And also, the government doesn't allow them to be in the child's lives. So, we have a couple of side problems. And one side problem that we have is a sexual immorality problem. Why there's not fathers is because, well, one, a lot of women can't prove which man is the father because they're being sexually active, and they are in a way trying to just get child support from the richest guy. That is totally 100% possible. Now, if we stop premarital sex, then, and the only sex you can have is with your husband and or wife, then there's probably a pretty sure chance that the dad is the husband. Pretty sure. Unless, of course, the wife cheated. And then what we need is, of course, mandatory DNA tests. And if the child is not the man's, that would be grounds for divorce, where the woman loses everything. Because what we need, again, is another problem, is we have a divorce system. We have a system of divorce called no-fault divorce. And in this particular system, 80% of women file for divorce. The men are not the ones filing for divorce. It's the women that are filing for divorce. We also, so these women are leaving men at an alarming rate. So these men are good enough to sleep with, good enough to marry if they're got that cheddar, if they got that money. And then when they divorce a man, they get all this stuff out of the deal. They get, in most cases, unless the man has good money to pay for a lawyer, the man is not going to get any type of child support. I mean, not going to get any type of, he's going to have to pay child support. He's going to have to pay alimony. He's going to have to pay spousal support. And on top of that, he's going to lose custody or get limited custody or not true joint custody of the kids. So if we really want to stop the father epidemic, we need to stop the sexual immorality epidemic. We need to stop the alcoholism epidemic, because when people go out partying in clubs, they get drunk and they lose their inhibitions, and next thing you know, they're having sex. And it's all 100% the women's fault, because women choose who they have sex with. They 100% choose who they have sex with, and they 100% have incentive. The incentive is for them to get married, and have children, or for them to not get married and have children. Either way. And then there's no, if they don't want the children, they have 100% ability to have abortions and murder those kids, while they also have 100% guaranteed way to get money. So if women choose not to be with a man or with a man, if they choose to be with a man, they get the money from the man to raise the kids. If they choose not to be with a man, they get the money from either the government or, again, from the man through child support, alimony, and such, spousal support, etc. Even if you cohabitate with women, the laws are getting fixed to where you can't kick them out, and they can still possibly consider you common marriage type deal. So men don't cohabitate with women, don't have sex with women, leave women alone, and have prenups with infidelity clauses in them, please. If you're going to be smart. Don't have sex before marriage. Don't marry a girl that has had sex before marriage. You know, the old no hymen, no diamond type deal, even though you can break your hymen a woman can break her hymen in other ways other than, it being, just saying. It can be broken in other ways. So, not 100% of the case does not having a hymen mean that you're not a virgin. Just saying. Like hard riding of a horse or bicycle or, all kinds of damages can do it. So, yeah, you can get damaged in other ways. Yeah. But that's not the point that I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that the problem is not men. No matter how they try to twist the statistics to make it look like the problem is men, the problem is the government and men. And the government and the top 10% of men that women go after, because there is a thing called hypergamy. 80% of women go after 10% of the men. So women like tall men. So and they like men with, that look, they like good looking men. They like tall men. They tend to go after older men, and they always date up, which means they go after men that have more money, financial security, etc. than them. Always. So the problem is not men, but the problem is simps who keep voting for more laws to protect women when we need more laws to protect men from women, because women have control over the court system, the justice system, the legal system, the legislative system, all that. They have all that power. They even have power over the churches, because the churches, for the most part, have a lot of women that go to church, right? Okay, so most churches are filled up with women, and most pastors, they might be men pastors, and there's even women pastors, which is unbiblical, by the way. But there are men pastors, and a lot of these pastors are hirelings, and they won't preach on certain issues. They won't preach on certain topics. They won't preach against women. They won't preach against sexual immorality. They won't preach against sexual premarital sex. They just will not preach against certain things. Even in the Baptist church that I grew up in, they love bashing LGBTQ, blah, 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 blah. Gays, lesbians, homos, whatever. They do not mind bashing that. But at the same time, a lot of Baptist churches will not condemn the girls and the boys in the churches that are sleeping around. So while you're against the LGBT stuff, which is sexual immorality, I agree, it's sexual immorality, and yes, you need to throw in the fact every one of you pastors needs to stop. If y'all gonna preach about LGBTQism, you need to start preaching about partying, going to the clubs, sleeping around, having premarital sex, because that's also sexual immorality. Fornication, adultery, that's also sexual immorality. You can't pick and choose which type of sexual immorality you want to preach about. And you can't preach on Mother's Day sermons that are pro women. Oh, women, they're so great. Well, and then on Father's Day, not preach sermons about what a man, how to be a man, what a man should do, what a real father should do. Yeah, maybe you should switch up next Mother's Day and preach on Proverbs on what a virtuous woman should be. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you should switch up next Father's Day and praise the men. Have a sermon that's all praising men, not, putting them down for being men, but pulling them up for being men. And on Mother's Day, the next Mother's Day message, maybe you should have a sermon bashing how a lot of these women aren't being virtuous women like they're supposed to be. And, pull out all the Bible verses about bad women and stuff. So I'm just saying, can't bash men and praise women. It's not fair. You got to start bashing the women as equal to the men, because there's plenty of Bible passages that talk bad about women. God has it in there. He tells you there's plenty of Bible verses that tell you what kind. It tells you women how to be women, and it tells men what kind of women to avoid like the plague. But men are too much of simps. So the problem, if there is a problem in the world, it's these chads talking girls out of their panties. That's part of the problem. And then it's these simps that are agreeing, doing whatever they can to cater to women to basically try to get laid because they don't want to be in the friend zone. But this don't work because they just get stuck in the friend zone. So maybe you girls should stop being virgins. Stop not being virgins, and stop dating guys that you wouldn't put in your friend zone. Only date guys that are in your friend zone. And maybe you men should stop letting girls friend zone you, because stop simping. And deny the girl everything. Make it hard for you to get. Have standards, guys. Have standards. Men, have some standards. No, so another problem. So the problem I see is that government passes laws to make it where. Okay, here's some more problems we have. We have government that passes laws to help women out. Again, these laws like no-fault divorce. These laws like giving women custody of the children. These laws like making men have to pay child support. These laws like not having true equal rights over the children. Women usually have the custodial rights of the kid, or the parental rights of the kid, and men don't get those rights most of the time in divorce and everything else. So maybe we should pass laws that let men have full parental custodial rights of their children. Yeah. Yeah. How's that sound? Maybe we should pass rules that say, because women, feminism, liberalism, they all believe in equal rights, right? So, if we're going to believe in equal rights, that if we're going to have no fault divorce, if we truly believed in equal rights, no fault divorce would basically mean you get nothing because you want to leave, which means you don't need anything for leaving. Also, another thing is if we truly believed in equality and equal rights, then you would probably cut child support in half because you would be like, well, the woman is supposed to be able to provide half of the provision for the children, right? And if you truly believed in equal rights, you would give true equal joint custody where both sides would have full parental control and custodial power over the child. Now, what that means is that both parents can make any and all decisions regarding the child because the child will be in both parents' place equally amount of the time. Now, I don't know how we're going to do that, but that doesn't mean that the dad gets them once every other weekend. That doesn't mean the dad gets them every weekend. That means the dad gets them 3.5 days a week and the girl gets them 3.5 days a week. The mom and the dad will get both child 3.5 days a week. Or we could divide it weekly, where the father gets the child for a whole week, the mother gets the child for a whole week, and back and forth and back and forth and forth and back. Because weekend rights is not true weekend rights. Because you never get them at midnight on Friday evening. And you don't actually return them by midnight on Sunday. So you're not getting them a full 48 hours. So if you are getting them, you're not getting them a full 48 hours. So the reason why men aren't in the picture is because women are not allowing the men in the picture. There's a whole lot of women that will use their children because they have the power in the court systems to use their children, and they will weaponize the children against the fathers. And there's also a whole lot of bashing. I mean, single mothers bash the man that a lot of single mothers do a lot of bashing of the man that they had a child with. Look, he was good enough to have sex with, and he was good enough to sleep with, and he was good enough to have a child with, and or you may have been good enough to marry. Y'all fell out of love. That's the end of it. You need to quit bashing each other, and you especially need to quit bashing the father of your son or daughter in front of your son or daughter. And men, y'all don't need to bash your wife, your woman, the mother of your son or daughter, especially in front of your son or daughter. That's just quit. Just quit. Quit fighting. Y'all are not together anymore, right? Then who cares about each other? Don't be bashing. Yeah, so the problem isn't men. I mean, we have gone through this. The problem is so much women. Now, another problem is we don't thoroughly investigate. We have a lot of female teachers. So the idea that the female teachers tricking or coercing or trying to make maybe a spanking look like sexual assault is bad. Because here's why it's bad. It's bad because you have female teachers that are already biased against men because they probably had some bad relationships, which, again, they picked. Again, think about this again for a moment. Women, y'all pick the men. Y'all pick the men you sleep with. You pick the men you date. You pick all the men. You pick the men. So quit picking bad men. Quit picking bad men. It's your fault. Quit picking bad men. It's your fault. You keep picking bad men. That's your fault. That's on you. Quit doing it. Quit friend zoning the good men and start dating them. Quit picking the bad men. That's your fault. Quit going to places where bad men hang out. Clubs. Bad men hang out there. Parties. Bad men hang out there. You're going literally to places to find men that are bad men that only care about sex. Quit going there. Bad men. Why would you go somewhere that specifically has the bad type of men anyway? Quit. Then you're drinking alcohol on top of that, which is letting you lose your inhabilitations, making you more susceptible to stuff and less thinking. Stay sober, stay vigilant, for your adversary, the devil, is like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. Stop doing things, parties, drinking, alcohol, drugs. Quit doing those things. Yeah. You know what, women, you want to know which guys you actually should go after? The ones you don't like! The ones you think are ugly. Those are probably going to be your best bets. If you think he's ugly, he's probably a good guy. Go after him. Pursue the ugly man. Pursue the ugly man. I'm telling you, pursue the ugly man. Go after the short kings. Go after the ugly kings. Go after the fat kings. Go after them guys. Because those are the men. Average men. Those are the guys. Don't go after them. Don't go after the jocks. Don't go after the rich guys. Don't go after the chads. Just don't do it. Go after the other guys. Yeah. Anyway, what was I getting at? Oh yeah, it's your fault, women. Your fault. It's also the government's fault because the government, they pass laws or like the man in the house rules. The man in the house rules, and oh by the way, these laws that are passed, they're passed by Democrats most of the time, and you women keep voting Democrat. Why? They're hurting you, not helping you. There's these no men rules that basically say stuff like if there's men in the house, whether it's a grandpa, a dad, father, boyfriend, whatever, that a lot of women lose the custody. They lose the financial government money. So there's no reason. As a matter of fact, there's an incentive by the government to kick men out of the house so you can get food stamps, unemployment, government assistance, WIC, blah, 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 blah. These are all there. I mean, there's no incentive for men to be fathers. There's all the incentive for women to be single moms, and none of the incentive for men to even get married. There's no incentive for men to be fathers. We have no power. We have no rights. We have nothing. The court system, the legal system is against us. And then you still want to blame men when it's women who pick which men they're going to stay with. It's women who pick which men they're going to sleep with. It's women who keep voting because women do tend to vote more Democrat than Republican. It's women who tend to keep voting for Democrats. It's women who believe in equal rights except for when it doesn't help me. And it's women who, for some reason, are still scared of men, yet they keep picking the worst men. And then they want to blame all men when it's their fault for picking the bad men. And then they never want to give the man's side of the story, because there's two sides to every breakup. One's a lie and one's the truth. And yeah, the women do the lying a lot compared to the men. Men are probably just going to tell you straight up why they broke up with the girl. And it's probably going to be because they was crazy. Yeah, so why do men want to stick around with you crazy women? I mean, they were probably simply put, they broke up with the girl because she cheated on them, or she's crazy, or she's not my type, or I was expecting this from her and she wouldn't do that. So I'm done. I mean, men have pretty simple expectations, and when women don't meet them, we're like, okay, we're done. Unless they're simps. So, and there comes a breaking point where even a simp's going to be like, I'm done. I'm out. Bye. She's gone. Can't handle this no more. Yeah. Anyways, that's why as men, you shouldn't cohabitate with women, because it gets harder to distance them from your life if you cohabitate with them. It gets even harder to distance them from your life if you have sex with them on a fairly regular basis. And it also gets really harder to separate yourself from their life if you have children with them or by them, or that. Also, here's another thing. Just going to throw a few more things out of why it's women's fault. That first of all, when men try to create men's only groups for boys to teach boys how to be boys, the women don't like it. They want their daughters to be part of these boys only groups. And they also think that it should be inclusive, which means that we should allow the trans community involved, because they think it's sexist or something to not do that. Gotta allow gays and whatever. Now, when they did that with the Boy Scouts, we don't have Boy Scouts anymore because of stuff like that. Boy Scouts was destroyed by DEI. It was destroyed by women who demanded that, oh, we gotta have female scoutmasters. Oh, we gotta allow gays. Oh, we gotta allow transgender scoutmasters. Oh, we gotta allow girls into the Boy Scouts. So when men want to create all male, exclusively male, and be male role models, the single mothers don't like it. Also, when a man wants to try to be a mentor of a child, a boy, because men, oh man, if men are seen around girls, they're also another thing. If men do not have like a wife or something, or a girlfriend or something that's with them at all times, and they are good with children and they interact with children, and they're just trying to be, play with them and be, games and toys and teach them and stuff. Those type of men get accused of being pedophiles just for being father figures to these kids. That's part of the problem. Another thing that's part of the problem is that if a man tries to mentor other young men or young women, especially single men, or even a married man for that matter, while they might get accused of being pedophiles for doing it, they will get the wife, if they are married, their wife will get mad at them for spending more time trying to mentor these kids. And she'll think that that time should be spent mentoring their children, or she'll think that that time should be spent with her instead of with them. Or she'll think, oh, you're spending too much time over at that single girl's house. She's prettier than me. What are y'all doing? Are you having an affair with her or something? Why are you spending so much time over there? Yeah, see, again, it's the women's fault. The women don't want men in other women's lives to try to be father figure role models. So, and then the women don't want male exclusive communities or clubs or whatever. They think it's sexist. But then they're all okay with having female only spaces. That's the true that's true sexism right there. So it's feminism is part of the major problem. The legalism and liberal policies, Democrat policies, and even Republican policies, really, to cater to women and feminism, the non-preaching on sexual immorality and preaching on always on and preaching to cater women because of feelings in the churches and the legislative systems and even the businesses with their DEI policies. On top of all that, now women work. So there was a time when a woman did not have to work. One man could work a full-time job and earn enough money to not only pay for, so was own a house, own 2 cars, have a stay-at-home wife, and have at least 3 children. And on top of that, he could afford to save so that all 3 of them could go to a decent college. And this was when colleges were actually worth going to, before they got all liberal and stuff, or trade school or whatever. And he still had every weekend off. I mean, every Saturday and Sunday was off, so that everybody could go to church and everybody could have a family day. Everybody nobody worked on the weekends. Hardly at all. I mean, there's a few exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, people didn't work on the weekends. The wife stayed home, and you had 3 kids, and they all went to school and college, and you owned your house, and you owned 2 cars, one for the man, the work car, and one for the woman to take the kids to school, doctor's appointments, grocery store, shopping, whatever, right? Okay, there was a time when that nuclear family existed, and the one man with one job could afford that nuclear family. That doesn't exist anymore. The financial ability for that one man to do all that does not exist anymore. And this was the average job. This was the regular, average 9 to 5, 8 hour a day type of job. We're not talking about other jobs. We're talking about the regular average job. You made enough money in the average regular job to afford to do that. You don't do that anymore. And on top of that, with feminism and the equal rights acts and amendments and everything, you have doubled the workforce, which has split the money in half, and also increased the amount of consumers. So women now have jobs, which means everybody's working now, which means there's less money for one individual man to have so that he can actually afford to do everything that it would take to be a father. Almost can't afford to be a father. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. And that is, again, the woman's fault because they got into the workforce instead of staying home. They demanded to be in the workforce. And now they are taking up all the men's jobs. There's less jobs when there's more workers in the workforce. And those people have to get paid less because you know for a fact that the big rich CEO, big shots aren't going to take no salary cuts for themselves, right? Exactly. So, can we stop blaming men for the problems in society and actually address it from a logical standpoint and go, it's the government that's the problem. It's liberal policies that's the problem. It's Democrat policies that's the problem. It's equality. It's forced equality, forced equity that's the problem. It's feminism that's the problem. It's women in general that have caused this problem by wanting these liberal policies, by voting for these liberal policies, and it's religious pastors that are the problem for not preaching the truth of the Word of God, regardless of what if half their congregation steps up and walks out. So, pastors, if any of y'all are pastors here, preach the Bible. Preach all the bad stuff about women and all the bad stuff about men in there. If people walk out, let them walk out. They're being convicted by the Holy Spirit. Let the Holy Spirit convict them to come back. They need salvation through Christ and they need to change their wicked ways more than they need coddling to and not hurting people's feelings. Because facts don't care about your feelings. And faith also doesn't care about your feelings. Laws. Legislatives. Stop making laws that cater to women. If they truly want equality, then make equality laws. See how much they'll really want equality when you make true equal rights laws. Abolish no-fault divorces. Or at least abolish alimony for no-fault divorces. Make cut child support in half because it's half of the financial responsibility should be the mom's. Stop letting women get everything when they just divorce people. make women lose everything when they commit adulteries. Give men 100% true joint custody and parental and custodial guardianship over their children. All their children. Every one of their children. Cut alimony. Eliminate alimony because women have jobs now. There's no reason women should be getting alimony. We don't have stay-at-home wives anymore. That doesn't exist. Who can afford a stay-at-home wife? Doesn't exist. Women work. There's no need for alimony. Yeah. Make these laws. And watch the system change. Stop catering to women and watch the system change. Demand true equality, watch the system change. Stop having laws that say that poor families, middle-class families can't get government assistance if a man is in the house. Change those rules. Change those laws. Change them. And women. Quit going after the bad Chads. Quit going after Tyrone. Quit going to the bars to find a good man. How about you go to church? How about you go to school? How about you quit going after the tall guys? Go after short guys. How about you quit going after athletic guys? Go after the average guy, which is a little chubby. How about you quit going after good-looking men that are all chiseled in the face? Go after maybe the guys that don't look that good. Go after a guy that you put in the friend zone. Check your friend zones and go find a good guy. And that's basically what I have to say in this 40-something minute long video. And as always, remember, God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Keep on gaming. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Oh, and women, stop cheating on men. And stop getting no-fault divorces. Stick with your man. You married him. Didn't your vows say death do us part? Exactly. Isn't that and shouldn't that be a legal binding agreement? Which means it should be illegal to get divorced. Anyway, have a great day. Later.